Hey guys, my name's Ian, I'm a filmmaker from Chester, and in today's video I'm going to give you my long-term review of the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Let's get into it. So in order to appreciate just how good this drone is, we have to compare it to the first drone I ever bought, the Phantom 3 Standard. Look at this beast. It's so heavy. I'm getting a workout then. Don't need to go to the gym later carrying that drone around. So yeah, this is just, it's amazing how much the technology has improved over time. I've been flying this drone, I've been taking it around the world, I've taken it around cities, I've gone to London, Barcelona, Manchester, Liverpool. I'm having a great time with it. My favourite feature, I think, with this drone is how quiet it is. I feel like a lot of people, when they first get a drone, they're really excited about the technology, they get it, and then that excitement can tail off a little bit. I remember when I had the Mavic Air, I had this nagging thing at the back of my mind that I didn't want to take the drone out. Even though it was a portable drone, it was just like an Apache helicopter setting off. Now, I feel more compelled to go out there and capture the footage when I know I've got a quieter drone. There might be people going out, having a walk in the nature, and you're not disturbing them as much with this. So I think that's a very important thing to factor in. It's not just all about the specs, it's about you having an enjoyable experience and wanting to create the content. The more you stick at it, the better you'll get. So I feel like I'm getting the quality and also the portability, the usability. It's just the most fun drone I've had. At this point, I will mention a few of the negative things about this drone. The SD card slot is just terrible. When you first open it, I was really confused how to even get the SD card in. Now, the trick is just to either use another SD card or DJI give you this little tool, like a little screwdriver you can use. To be fair, you get used to it and it's not the end of the world. And also the second negative thing about this drone is the build quality is not incredible. It does feel slightly like a toy. They're trying to keep it light. So some of the negative things you have to just factor in that it's very important to have it under the 250 grams. Range isn't as good as DJI market it. I wouldn't say it's terrible. I can capture my shots perfectly fine, but just be aware that, you know, it's not amazing. So I came from the Air 2S drone, and I always have to respect that this is a much smaller drone. So with the wind resistance, it's obviously not going to be as good. But for the size, I've been pleasantly surprised in the time that I've used it. As long as I'm sensible with not sending it out in a hurricane, it deals with the wind pretty well. Just be careful when it's going like near buildings and the wind's up, because it might suddenly get a jet and it gets sucked into that. Just be sensible, check the forecast, and most times you'll be able to capture your shots. Another amazing thing about this drone is the battery life. It's really good. I generally get about 25 minutes, maybe slightly less if I'm using sport mode, but 25 minutes is a lot compared to the older drones. It could be the difference. Going from 15 minutes to 25 minutes, those last 10 minutes gives you a bit more freedom to capture creative shots. You feel under less pressure, and it's wonderful. So the D-Cine, I really like it. It's not D-Log, it's not like on the Air 2S, but I feel like it's a really nice balance between giving you nice dynamic range, and it's also fairly easy to edit. And the footage on this, it's smooth to edit, I find. Especially coming from the A7S III, it's just a joy to edit. You haven't got the 5.4K to crop in afterwards, but I feel like, let's say you're filming a castle, because this is quieter, you don't have to worry so much about disturbing people. So it does give you a little bit of scope to get closer to your objects anyway. The cropping thing, it's nice to have on the Air 2S, but it's not absolutely essential. And this drone, for me, I'm happy to live with that. This Mini 3 Pro, the drone's actually getting better over time with the firmware updates. It's not the same drone as when it was first released. Almost immediately, DJI released 10-bit color, which amazing. It should have been released with ability to control sharpness. Fortunately now DJI have a firmware update so you can do that. It's very subjective sharpness, isn't it? Camera companies now, they feel under pressure from YouTube reviews. We tend to go down a bit of a rabbit hole, don't we? We're watching all these reviews, we're zooming in, we're wanting the sharpest image, but sometimes there's a difference between sharpness and detail, and you don't want an image to be digitally sharpened too far. Straight out the box, it's a little bit too sharp. Now, my favourite at the moment is to knock it down to -1 sharpness. I still feel like that gives enough detail, but also areas such as these trees here, where they shouldn't be too sharp. It's less noisy, and I like that. I think it's a good compromise. I know other videographers such as Philip Bloom, he likes -2, and I'm going to respect that opinion as well. Maybe if I was filming a wedding, I would probably film them as -2. So it does depend slightly on the subject matter, the type of film you're making, you can adapt it towards that. I don't think 0 as it is. I think some people are going to like that, that's fine. It's all about what type of vibe you want to have. I really like the hyperlapses on the Mini 3 Pro, especially at night. It's so much fun. Now, the drone does give you its own version of the hyperlapse, which is useful as a reference, but it's much better to film them in RAW and then have the flexibility in post to do as you want. If you're interested in knowing the settings I use, let me know in the comments and I'll consider doing a tutorial if there's enough demand for it. So the drone does have vertical video. Now, some of you guys make me laugh because you absolutely hate vertical video. Let's say I've got a little bit of battery life left. I might capture the odd shots just to show my friends on the stories. It's there if you want to use it. It would depress me a little bit if people were buying this drone just to have vertical video. I feel like if you're doing that, you're worrying about the likes and the dopamine and all of that, rather than wanting to create your own content to enjoy on a big screen, bring your friends around, show them footage as it's meant to be seen, not just through a phone, not just to please the masses. So if you've got the Mini 2 already, should you upgrade to the Mini 3 Pro? Because the Mini 2, it's already under restrictions, it's a very solid drone, can handle wind fairly well. This is just slightly better, this is just slightly quieter. So those reasons are probably not big enough. I think it's the de-syncing you like. It's having the flexibility in certain lighting conditions to be able to catch the shots. But I've seen a lot of you guys with the Mini 2 creating some really good videos. And without having the obstacle avoidance, Mini 2 users find a way to do that. They can be more aware of where their drone is. It is a nice upgrade from the Mini 2, but just remember that is a very good drone. You can still be working on your skills with that drone. Don't feel pressure to have to get this. I've said on the first video I did that I haven't bought the new screen because for me, that is not going to actually improve the quality of the footage. I think it's a nice feature. I think it's good value. When you compare it to the Mavic 3 controller, it's great value. You can record your tutorials and that sort of thing, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm really happy with this drone. It's my favourite drone by far. It really puts the fun back into filming, going out and flying. It makes you want to go out there. And on this channel, I'm only going to show you guys what I'm actually using. I'm not going to talk about 360 cameras just because they've been released. Look, if you're into that, fine, but for me, I like my drone, I like my A7S III, and I'm not going to overload you with too much stuff. The one thing I'm interested in, actually, I'm going to wait for the specs, is the Pocket 3, because I'm hearing the rumours that it's going to be very similar to this drone. So it could be quite tempting to have that and be able to grade the footage side by side. Anyway, let's wait for that. At the time of filming, it's not been released. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you're interested, I've got videos on helping with stock footage, that sort of thing. Please consider subscribing. Having more helpful content about the Mini 3 Pro coming up in the future.